It's me. Who? Kris Munroe.
As in Kris Munroe, Jill Munroe's younger sister, pigtails and braces?
You got it.
When people hear the name Charlie's Angels, they immediately think of glamour, style, and three strong, beautiful women fighting crime in the 1970s. For many, it's Farrah Fawcett's megawatt smile or Jaclyn Smith's graceful strength that stands out. But hidden in the show's glittering legacy lies a painful truth, one carried quietly by Cheryl Ladd, the woman who stepped into the chaos after Farrah Fawcett walked away. This is the story you haven't heard, a story about what it really meant to be the replacement angel, how Cheryl Ladd was thrown into the lion's den of Hollywood fame, expected to save a sinking ship, and how she did it with grace, professionalism, and pain that rarely made it past her radiant smile. A star leaves, a target arrives. In 1976, Charlie's Angels premiered and instantly became a phenomenon. The trio of Farrah Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Jaclyn Smith took the world by storm. But it wasn't long before cracks began to show. Farrah, the breakout star, was uncomfortable with the long hours, shallow scripts, and lack of creative control. After just one season, she left the show, igniting a media firestorm. Behind the scenes, ABC and producer Aaron Spelling were panicking. Farrah wasn't just a character, she was a brand. Replacing her seemed almost impossible, but the show had to go on. Enter Cheryl Ladd. She was bright, beautiful, and talented. That what made her stand out was her willingness to not try to be Farrah. Instead, she came in as Kris Munroe, Jill Munroe's younger sister. It was a clever narrative move. Viewers would see a family resemblance without the pressure of a copycat. But what Cheryl didn't expect was that stepping into Farrah's shoes would mean being emotionally sidelined by her new co-stars. Icy shoulders and lonely sets. When Cheryl Ladd arrived on set, there were no warm welcomes. No, we're so happy you're here. Instead, she was met with cold professionalism, or more accurately, cold indifference. Kate Jackson, known for her assertive personality and creative control on set, was reportedly upset with Farrah's departure and skeptical of her replacement. Jaclyn Smith, always more reserved, kept her distance as well. The two remaining angels had formed a tight bond during season 1, and in their eyes, Cheryl was an outsider. During interviews years later, Cheryl hinted at the pain she felt. "I wasn't part of the club," she once said. "They never invited me in. Lunch breaks were often lonely. Rehearsals were quiet. No one was rude to Cheryl, but no one embraced her either. She was professional, always on time, always prepared. But she was also human. Behind the camera, she was often left alone, keeping the show alive." Despite the tension, Cheryl was determined to do her job, and she did it brilliantly. Her portrayal of Kris Munroe brought a fresh energy to the show. She was bubbly, funny, and sharp. Viewers loved her. Ratings soared. In many ways, she saved the show. But success on screen didn't fix the problems off screen. Cheryl was constantly aware that she was walking a tightrope. One wrong move, one emotional outburst, and she could be labeled difficult. So she smiled. She worked hard. She showed up every day, gave it her all, and then went home exhausted. Not from the work, but from the emotional toll of being invisible to the people standing right beside her. She once said in an interview, "I would go home and cry. I felt like I was walking on eggshells every day." But she never let it show. The media circus. While fans were busy loving Kris Munroe, the media loved stirring the pot. Tabloids constantly compared Cheryl to Farrah. Headlines like, "Is Cheryl as good as Farrah?" or "Can Ladd save the Angels?" were splashed across magazines. Photographers followed her everywhere. Paparazzi tried to catch her slipping up. But Cheryl kept her composure. She knew she had something to prove, not just to the world, but to her co-stars. Sadly, even as she carried the weight of the show's survival, she never received the same credit or admiration that Farrah did. She was the workhorse behind the scenes, while others received the glory. And to standing alone, standing strong. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of Cheryl's journey was how alone she truly was. When guest stars would come on set, they'd often comment on the chilly atmosphere. Some even remarked on how distant the angels seemed from one another. But Cheryl was the one most affected. She later said in a memoir-style interview, "I had to build a wall around myself just to survive. But walls can't protect you from everything." Deep down, she yearned for camaraderie, friendship, and simple human kindness. She wanted to laugh between takes, share lunch, have real conversations. But instead, she became a master of pretending to be okay, pretending to be included, pretending to be part of something she was clearly being kept at a distance from. A moment of truth. Years later, Cheryl was asked what it was really like behind the scenes of Charlie's Angels. For the first time, she dropped the polite tone and said, "I had to be my own best friend." That statement says it all. No matter how much the audience adored her, how many fan letters she received, or how many ratings records she helped break, she was alone. And yet she never gave less than 100%. When she saw herself on the cover of magazines, smiling next to Jaclyn and Kate, she knew the truth behind those images. The smiles were often forced. The laughter, if there was any, was hollow. But she still showed up, still did her job, and in doing so, she proved something important. You don't need a tribe to make a difference. Sometimes all you need is courage. Life after the Angels. When Charlie's Angels ended, Cheryl had the option to walk away bitter or walk away stronger. She chose strength. Her post-Angels career included singing, acting in TV movies, and even performing on Broadway. She never chased superstardom. She just wanted to work and be respected. She eventually found peace in her personal life too. She became a mother, found happiness in quieter roles, and built a legacy of integrity. She once said, "The best revenge is a happy life," and she lived it. The legacy she left banning. Today, when people look back on Charlie's Angels, Cheryl Ladd is often still referred to as Farrah's replacement. But to those who understand the full story, she's much more than that. She was the anchor during the storm, the silent warrior who carried the weight of everyone's expectations, and still smiled. She brought humor, warmth, and charm to a show that could have easily collapsed after Farrah left. She endured emotional coldness, constant comparison, and isolation, without ever letting it touch her performance. As the years passed, Cheryl Ladd built a life far removed from the drama of Charlie's Angels. She went on to star in dozens of television movies, released music albums, and even published books. Her personal life flourished as well. She married, raised a family, and embraced her role as a public figure with grace and warmth. To many, she became a symbol of quiet resilience, someone who had endured the harsh spotlight of Hollywood without letting it harden her. But one thing never changed. Cheryl Ladd never made peace with Kate Jackson. She never sought reconciliation and never accepted it if it was offered. Industry insiders say Cheryl has turned down several opportunities over the years to reunite with the original cast, especially if it involves sitting across from Kate. It was not about bitterness, it was about boundaries. When asked indirectly about the old feud, Cheryl has always maintained her composure. She gives careful, thoughtful answers. She does not rehash old wounds, but she never sugarcoats the past either. Her silence, her calm refusal to engage, speaks louder than any tabloid headline. In an industry where grudges are often turned into press tours and scandals into sales pitches, Cheryl chose dignity. She walked away from the chaos, and she never looked back. Even today, decades later, fans still wonder what exactly happened behind those studio walls. Was it a simple personality clash? Was it deeper, rooted in jealousy, fear, or unresolved pain? The full story may never be told. Cheryl is not interested in settling scores, and Kate has long retreated from the public eye. But what remains is the aftermath of a Cold War that never thawed. Cheryl Ladd's story is one of resilience, of quiet suffering, of strength masked by poise. And most of all, it's a reminder that not every hero needs a spotlight. Some heroes do their best work in the shadows, and Cheryl Ladd, she was one of them.